Her cellular phone has not stopped buzzing. Every single vibration is another fracture in her failing composure. I can easily picture her pacing the small apartment, her hair likely still smelling faintly of the expensive red wine from last night's scene, endlessly replaying the moment I stood up, deliberately poured my drink over her head, and simply walked away without uttering a single syllable. It is that profound silence that is systematically devouring her. Last night was merely the ignition. Today is the full-blown fire. I first met Naomi 8 years ago at a cozy bookstore in Boston. I was looking through the crime section. She was gripping a self-help book like it was a vital shield. She smiled at me first. I genuinely believed that meant something significant. We conversed for many hours that afternoon about art, travel, the people we aspired to become. She confessed that I made her feel completely seen. I told her she made me feel definitively chosen. And perhaps that is precisely why I failed to notice the warning signs later on. The subtle jokes that contained a cruel edge. The dismissive way she spoke about me to her acquaintances as though I were a tolerated pet rather than a man she deeply loved. At first, I convinced myself it was simply her particular brand of humor. But humor should never leave lasting emotional scars. Last month, the entire mask slipped away completely. I had returned to our apartment earlier than usual unannounced. She did not hear me enter. She was standing in the kitchen, her phone on speakerphone, laughing with her best friend. He is harmless, she casually stated. And honestly, that is the only reason I bother keeping him around. No one else would ever tolerate him. Her friend laughed heartily. I did not laugh at all. That night, I didn't confront her. I didn't yell. I didn't even pack and leave. I simply began to meticulously plan my departure. The first essential step I took was quietly relocating our savings over several weeks, moving money from our joint account into a new one only I could access. I rerouted small portions of my direct deposit each time, never enough to provoke any suspicion from her. Next, I changed every vital password, not to her accounts, but to all of mine. My bank email, even my personal phone. I locked every digital door she never even realized existed. Then I contacted my old university friend, Marcus, who happened to be one of the sharpest divorce lawyers in the entire city. We arranged to meet at his downtown office after the workday. I recounted the entire history but kept my voice measured and my face calm. I think my composure unsettled him more than any tears would have. If you want out, we can make this incredibly clean, he advised. You'll come out ahead financially. I corrected him. I don't just want out. I want her to understand with absolute clarity exactly what she recklessly tossed aside. Last night was her final opportunity to completely dig her own grave, and she did not disappoint me. We were at a popular restaurant with 6 of her friends, all loud and liberally fueled by wine. Someone casually asked how we initially met. Before I could even open my mouth, she smirked. He basically begged me to go out with him, she announced. Look at him. Desperate, weak, and incredibly lucky that I was bored enough to say yes. They all erupted in laughter. She continued her cruel monologue. Honestly, I am only still with him because I don't have the time or energy to properly train someone hotter. Her best friend visibly winced. Ouch, girl. Then she looked me directly in the eye and delivered the final blow. Let's be completely realistic. No one else on the planet even wants him. The entire table roared with cruel amusement. I remained silent. I stood up, picked up my glass, and deliberately poured the liquid slowly over her head. The red wine slid down her hair, stained her dress, and dripped onto her plate. She gasped in shock as if it were the very first time she had ever been on the receiving end of profound public humiliation. I walked straight out, left the entire bill, left the last 9 years in that chair behind me. This morning, while she was likely still recovering from her hangover, I set the rest of my plan into irreversible motion. The locks on the apartment were completely changed before noon. My name was formally removed from the lease agreement. Hers was deliberately left on it. I had already packed all my essential belongings last week and stored them safely at Marcus's place. Our shared joint credit card was immediately closed. The utilities were legally transferred solely into her account name. Every subscription service she carelessly used on my dime was canceled. And the most satisfying part of all, the car. It was technically registered in my name, although she drove it daily. I had it professionally towed away from her workplace parking lot while she was inside. By the time she eventually got home, she was walking into an empty apartment she now had to pay for completely by herself. No car, no access to any of my accounts, no idea of my whereabouts. The rapid-fire text started around 3 p.m. We urgently need to communicate. You are being extremely dramatic. Are you honestly doing this over one stupid joke? When I deliberately did not answer, they changed their approach. I am truly sorry. Okay, it was a thoughtless thing to say. We can fix this problem. Please, can you just call me immediately? Each text message was more frantic and desperate than the last. By 8 p.m. she had reached absolute panic mode. I cannot afford the rent payment without your help. Why are you being so completely cruel? Cruel. That particular word almost made me laugh out loud. I did not respond at all, not because I lacked things to say, but because she had already heard every single thing she truly needed to hear, just not through verbal communication. She would hear my message in the overwhelming silence, see it in the immense bills stacking up, feel it in every single step she had to take without car, taste it in the solitary nights she would now spend alone, perpetually wondering when exactly I stopped loving her, if I ever truly did. The honest truth is, I did love her. I loved her enough to believe she wouldn't publicly twist the knife, to think she would diligently protect what we built, instead of parading it as a silly joke. But she chose the brief moment of laughter, and I chose the final definitive end. Now, as I sit here in my quiet new apartment, a glass of whiskey warming my hand, her frantic messages still lighting up my phone screen, I understand something profound. The most satisfying moment of revenge is not the dramatic instant they physically fall down. It's the moment they realize they are alone in the dark, and that the light they had depended on has been silently and permanently switched off.